What is the meaning of life? Let's think about it. My view is that meaning is not to be given, but to be found. I don't know why, but the first thing that pops up in my mind is Viktor Frankl, who was in Auschwitz, and he was talking in his book, Man and the Reason of the Existence, or something like that. And there are people who stayed and endured because of their love to their spouse and so forth. So in that case, if you explain or find the meaning in life in that hardship, that was the connection with the wife. Viktor Frankl found that his wife was dead after the war is over, and he wrote the book and explained those and came up with the logotherapy, I guess that was the name of it. So in his case, the meaning is to be found, and if you don't have the meaning, there's no point of living. So in my view, it depends on each person. If I think of Buddha, he had this question of suffering, and he wanted to find it. And that was the meaning of his pursuing that path. And after he found through the awakening, he further sat and discussed or shared his view, even though it sounded very difficult. First thought he had is, this is too profound and difficult, so it's not going to be easy to explain. So he thought, be quiet. But once he started, something happened. So then it's not for him to be awakened, but for others to be awakened. So that's how he found the meaning. For all the people who left their names and those who didn't, and especially those who seem to have accomplished, or it's not seem to, they accomplished something, small or large, had the reason of their living. To me, that's the meaning. And if I were to think about my meaning of life, let me just jump into it, because it may take time, but because the thought that I had was like emptiness, nothingness, and it may be difficult to explain the meaning of it, but if I were to say a few words, if I can think about it, there's nothing that is retained over time, even this love of someone and the whole of that. And even Buddha's attainment is related to nothing. So there's that example, actually. And even with that nothingness that he figured out, because everything changes, and there's a reason for us to suffer. And one of the thought, which came later with the Mahayana thinking, but even in Buddha's own, I believe there's that undescribable thing to the people. And the notion of that was so profound that he thought it's not possible, but later he came up and spent his 80 years of life sharing ideas. And there are those who followed capture that. I don't mean to focus on Buddhism, but other religions may have their own meaning and the reason of whatever the existence of their religion and all that. But my familiar notion of the nothingness, I can relate to that, because everything ends and it goes to nothing. And I shouldn't say I'm fine with it, but that's the thought I had. It's just the way it is emptiness. Instead of explaining a reason with words and logic, if I were to choose the word, the emptiness comes up. And if you're comfortable being empty, because we came from emptiness and die and go to emptiness, if you're familiar with the emptiness, it has the consistency that everything changes, nothing you can hang on, even your loved one. So there's a suffering, and it may be the meaning to stay, but when things happen, you just still have a sense of something you can find the meaning. So you may go to religion or spirituality when someone passes, and what do? Many people may not live long when they have the loved one passed because they've lost the meaning. But it's okay for them if that's their choice and that's what they found and that's what they lost and lose the energy to be not with that person. So depends on your internal passionate sense of for what's the purpose of my living. That's the critical thing I think we need to think about individually. Not someone tells you this is your meaning of life, you have to make money and be famous. That's okay if you believe in it and you have a strong reason and passionate passage. If I can think of Charlie Chaplin or even Marilyn Monroe, I read the autobiography of their stories and it's interesting. They had the passion, the meaning in pursuing the passion that became the vision and the mission. I mentioned about Jung from CEO of NVIDIA in one of the videos that how he managed was to have the vision and to get to the vision, what's the right thing to do right now? What's the most important thing to do? That's what he was talking in one of those videos, and I share that. If you check the Wang in my channel, you'll find it. It's just a distilled version that I took it, and that makes sense because you have the sense of committed sense of accomplishing something which he sees meaningful. That's why he spends so much time and energy and go through the challenges, people, and share ideas and organize and manage the company for 30 some years to make that $2 trillion market cap company. We master that. May keep on pursuing the same logic and going forward. So I kind of went back a while to that there are different people, different meaning, different process, but something to do with the vision and the sharing of that, having impact to the society, and all of that may have been the reason. And now I can think of this phrase, may all beings be happy, because my being is related to that. So on one side, I talked about nothingness, but the nothingness is nothing negative. It's just the way it is. And if we know it, by knowing it, and if we can go over the difficulties and challenges and hurdles, as the case of Buddha, this is too difficult to explain, but see what happens, and he starts to find a way. Because if there's something profound about it, what you feel, you may have the energy coming up, welling up from inside of you. You feel passionate, and what happens when you are passionate is that things happen. You may not know it, like samadhi I talk about, but the vision And what's important, you spend time meditating what is can be done. And maybe heaven may help you, God may help you. Maybe your unconscious part of who you are, maybe the way we are constructed as a magic of the nature, that's what I feel. To be on this earth, what's the meaning of life? Is to share the sense of vision, your experience-based idea of what is meaningful, not just for you, but for others. So there's a profound energy, the passion that can well up like a fountain to want to share, even if it's difficult. Like in my case, my English, my thought, my logic may be, random and crazy. But to me, the passion, curiosity, can it be explained? Can I make sense out of it on my own? I'm constantly challenging, and there's a meaning in my case. So I want to keep exploring and sharing within myself first, and if there's anyone listening, and I read the comment, and some says this, some say this, and that inspires me. Why this person say this way, or why did this person got it this way? So that enriches as a feedback mechanism to see what I'm passionate about. And I've been going through some, few years at least, probably, and I didn't care about who would watch or not. I just wanted to organize my thought as I live. I want to share and to see if it can make sense for myself. And if I can still use the word and logic to challenge myself, and so that maybe I won't get senile or dementia, but rather to be meaningful in my existence, to share some idea toward how to come up with the wisdom, compassion, with all the examples that I have studied and researched, experimented, and meditated and all that. I'm picking up as I go. And I never thought that I would post so many videos. But as I start to do it, to be empowered to do it, but also accountable so that I'm not just a crazy guy wasting the website memories and, people wasting time to come visit. So it's okay not to come visit, but I wanted to explore that. And that has a meaning. And be accountable means I remember things I said in some way or the other, somewhere in my mind, in my brain, even in unconsciousness. So I may be repeating, but when I repeat, if I do, that is to confirm, to keep the energy flowing, to assure that it's important to move on. So there's a meaning in what I do, even if it may sound redundant by logic. Maybe I had a different experience that confirmed something, and I may share that experience to point that there's a different angle to this idea that I realized. So I can confirm as I move on, or maybe start to change a little bit. But to be accountable means you're not going to be saying haphazardly, but what I feel. And I could be misleading or misleading myself even, but I just want to be clear about it. Because without the clarity, comprehensiveness, to talk to myself, understand, and can find the meaning in it, I shouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't do it for the sake of, view count or something. That doesn't make any sense. If you do it for the sake of the view count, I don't see the meaning of that. It's just a number. So the energy, interest, curiosity to make sense or not, and to see the execution of what I think is important is meaningful or not. So to assure that and to share it, to confirm it, or maybe change it a little bit, hopefully not wildly, so that I can cross-check from my experience, but other people's, and the feedback from the people. And there's the movement. And given the situation, given my talent, and doing this with a little group of people, or without any group of people, because I had long time that I was talking as if I'm talking to the dark universe. Now I see some people watching and commenting, and I'm getting a little nervous about it, that I feel a bit more responsible. But I'm kind of reassuring the meaning of doing it so that I don't get lost the original idea, and confirming, and the process that I go through makes sense. And that's why I'm doing it. And there's a meaning. I said about nothingness, so let me see if I can say a few words about it before I go. Nothingness is like this, that if you try to capture, let's say, the meaning in words and the logic, I don't think you can capture it, because it's in the level of energy, the interest I have, and the meaning I add in doing it. And the nothingness comes that whatever the energy I have would end up in nothing. That's one way to say it. But it's okay, because I'll be gone, you'll be gone. And if we have knowing that there's nothingness, but yet find a meaning, I think that's it. That's a very good reason for me to do this. Maybe it doesn't fly as a rational logic, but there's a sense of something meaningful to even think of make all beings be happy. And let me just add this one. I have to say this. There was someone who commented, because I can experience the underwater world and having a fun and beauty and floating and even meeting the shark. It's also for my exercise, and also picking up food without waste. I eat everything. And in that simple life, I find I don't kill them. They're sitting there. I see if they're going to go away. Something like that. So, but when it comes to food, sometimes I do kill, but I'm not going to throw away waste anything. Also, I don't drive much, only when needed. So, cook, growing tomatoes and veggies and stuff like that. More self-sufficiency. So there's that moral dilemma in a way I have. I hate to kill, but for the energy, for the purpose of what I'm doing, I may change this policy somehow. But that's just a little background that I'm trying to find the meaning, justification, and still wish may all beings be happy. Hypocrite, I feel every now and then. Not much actually, because you cannot be burdened if you are the hypocrite. But there's an issue like that I go through in my own life, so that I don't want to kill, but when I have to, I make the most of it, no waste, and convert that energy for good thing. A little long story, but I just wanted to say a few words about the meaning of life.